On Saturday night, Doctor Who exploded back onto our screens with a nearly 2.5 minute long trailer with a load of details and Easter eggs, so I'm not going to waste any more time, let's begin breaking this down. So, we start with that same shot of London we saw in the first trailer, as well as Donna's "sometimes I think there's something missing" line with her mother just off in the background, and then we get, like we did in the first trailer, the shot of David Tennant running through the exploded building, which I think might be Donna's house. If we look later on in the trailer, it's being attacked by something. I think this could be the aftermath of that. Then we get a few more random shots of the Doctor and Donna. The Doctor appears to be walking with sort of police cars behind him. There's flashing red and blue lights. I think he might be breaking into the construction site where the Meep spaceship is. And then we get this really cool shot of David Tennant as the 14th Doctor. Then we get a couple of shots we've seen before of the Doctor, and we get a voiceover of him talking to Shirley Ann Bingham, who is Ruth Madeley's character. We then get an actual shot of her, and it's a bit hard to work out where she is, but later on she appears to be on the unit helipad with them, so I'm guessing she is unit related somehow, so it could potentially be somewhere Unity. Then once again we get a few more shots we've seen before of the spaceship flying overhead, Donna poking Beep in the eye, and then all the action moves to the Noble's house. There's this really interesting shot of the Doctor running across the road with a bunch of unit soldiers and him stopping like he's realised something. I think it's possible he randomly encounters Donna in the street, goes to talk to Shirley Ann Bingham, and then unit pick up the location of Beep the Meep, which he doesn't realise is at the Noble's house, so him realising it is where that shot comes in. We then get a very 13th Doctor, 9th Doctor-esque David Tennant looking through the letterbox shot, and we finally get to hear Beep the Meep's signature catchphrase, "Meep meep." Oh, and of course the Doctor gets hit in the face again for good measure. There's a very brief shot of the Wrath Warriors shooting at what I'm presuming is possibly Donna's house, but then we get a really interesting shot. There's a unit soldier firing a gun, and the Doctor's put his hand out almost like he's trying to stop the bullets, and there's sort of a blue force-fieldy energy thing around it. And I've seen people speculating this could be new sort of 12 hours into regeneration powers, but I don't think that's the case. Although it's possible he has some sort of force field or something, I think it's more likely it's the Toymaker trying to keep him alive long enough so he can actually face him himself. But whatever is going on here, it's very interesting. We then get a shot of what I'm presuming is from the second special Wild Blue Yonder, of a very happy and surprised looking David Tennant standing up in awe at something on this spaceship. Donna also looks decidedly very impressed about whatever's outside. We then get a quick shot of Donna running through a spaceship corridor, but it appears to be the wrong way up. She appears to be running along the wall as opposed to the floor, so whatever spaceship they've ended up on, the gravity's gone wrong. And this is also, I'm assuming, from the second special. And then we get a few more shots of the Wrath Warriors versus Unit, which appears to all be happening in Donna's house, which is what makes me think in that bit earlier in the trailer the Doctor is running through the remains of it. Now we get to a very interesting part of the trailer. It appears to be almost split into two sections. You get the more Beep the Meep oriented section and the more Toymaker oriented section, and the BBC have officially confirmed Neil Patrick Harris is the Toymaker like we all expected. The Doctor's standing there, you can see the back of Kate Stewart's head, I'm assuming he's on top of the unit skyscraper, and he's talking about having a memory. All this whilst we see shots of the Toymaker dancing through the trash streets of what I'm assuming is London. We then get the "Who are they monsters" bit we had from the previous trailer, but interesting things to note here is the fact that both of the shots are alternate versions. Rosa's line is a different take, and Beep the Meep has updated CGI on him. We then get the bit about something being so bad the TARDIS ran away, which I'm assuming is from Wild Blue Yonder, and our only proper plot indication about this one, and I'm assuming that because I think all the space station-y type stuff will be in the second special. And then look at that, we've got David Tennant in a helicopter with the TARDIS once again being hoisted. It appears to be a bit of an anniversary tradition that the TARDIS gets picked up by a helicopter each special now. Why he couldn't just fly the TARDIS up to the top of the unit skyscraper, I don't know, but it might have something to do with whatever happens in the second special, as I'm 99% certain all of this Kate Stewart stuff is from The Giggle. And then the Doctor's all like, "Kate Lethbridge Stewart," which was very exciting because I convinced myself Kate wasn't in these for some reason. Now I want you to pay attention to this shot of Kate Stewart. We know that the third special somewhat revolves around the Toymaker having some sort of mind control over the human race, sending them mad. Kate Stewart, on her left arm, or right arm from our point of view, is wearing some sort of silver armband, which I'm assuming is what can counteract the Toymaker's mind control. I also want you to take note of the unit helipad location. Now, as I'm sure you know, Bonnie Langford was announced to be returning as Melanie Bush for Series 14 alongside Ncuti Gatwa. However, in her promotional photo here, we can clearly see she is on some sort of helipad, which very much matches the one we see in this trailer. If you look at her left arm, or our right from our point of view, you can see she's wearing one of these same wristbands. So I think those pictures were actually from the 60th, and I think Mel will also be showing up in The Giggle. What do we do this time, Doctor? how do we fight the human race is a very clear indication that whatever the Toymaker's doing is sending the human race mad, almost like they're going to be the villains of the giggle. We then get a few quick shots of this madness before we get a shot of Rose shouting "Mum" at the TARDIS where there's some sort of force field around it. We know this is probably from the end of the first special, but the implication here is Donna wasn't planning to actually go off and travel with the Doctor, she was just in the TARDIS for a look around, but suddenly it's going off on its own accord, which would link to the whole idea of it running away in the second special. And this is all presumably the Toymaker's doing. There's a quick shot of a plane flying overhead and this weird sort of blue and purple energy type thing, which I'm going to take a guess and say is from Wild Blue Yonder. Something entered this world is obviously referring to the Toymaker himself. I quite like the theory I've seen on the internet that in Flux, the Flux broke down the barriers between the universes which allowed the Toymaker passage into our dimension. We do know that the Flux is referenced at some point in these specials, so that would make sense. Throughout this trailer as well, the Toymaker seems to have 4 distinct personas. The 1920s Toymaker, who we see here going, "Or he is recognizing me. Why he's German now, I don't know." There's the Ringmaster, the Toy Soldier, and the Madman with the massive gun. The Toymaker refers to himself as the one who waits, which would be in keeping with his character, having previously met the Doctor off-screen before the first Doctor met him after a very long time, and now he's waited again to have a rematch. It's also very interesting because it tricks you into thinking these shots of the cracking burning London are from the giggle, but actually the shots of the cracking burning London are from the Star Beast. You can clearly see the wing of the Meep ship in this shot, which is very interesting as it seems the world's going to be ending in all of the specials. No surprises there then. Then we get a shot of the Toy Soldier version of the Toymaker bolting towards what I'm assuming is Kate's door, or maybe the door she's standing in front of. She's just got a random door in the middle of her office. I'm assuming this is how the Toymaker transports himself to different places. If you also look as well on the right hand side of the door, it's not an exact match, but it seems very similar to the Who Spy image we got of the wooden clown. I'm very concerned about David Tennant screaming, "Why does it have to be this?" because that implies something very awful is going to happen to them. We then get a shot of David Tennant standing in front of the window and looking up, and we get this really cool looking shot of a giant Neil Patrick Harris as the Toymaker puppeteering people on the ground. It's great. I do quite like the implication he's puppeteering the Doctor, but I don't know if that's the case. We then get another shot of David Tennant screaming before running forward towards the Toymaker on a massive gun screaming, "Your fight is with me." If we look at the background of the shot of the Toymaker, and we can clearly see the Shard is on fire a bit as well, so he's wreaking havoc everywhere. And then we get the "I don't know if I can save your life this time" line, with the very clear implication here that Donna's gonna die, and I really hope not. And then from then on to the end of the trailers, there's just lots of epic action shots. You can see one of the Doctor and Donna running through a corridor. The lights on it have got playing card symbols on, and it's collapsing behind them, so I'm assuming this is them maybe escaping from the Toymaker's realm at the end, possibly, or maybe it's just the beginning. And then to cap the whole thing off, we get another shot of Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor. This time he's not on the fake cloudy background we saw him in before, he's on a sort of sunsetted background. It looks similar to Durdle Door where Jodie Whittaker regenerated, so maybe at the end of the specials everything's reset and Jodie gets to regenerate into Ncuti. It's also worth noting here he's not wearing any of the costumes we've seen him in before, he's not even wearing David Tennant's costume. It appears to be some sort of purple jacket with black buttons, and he's opening his eyes. Some people have theorised that this is Ncuti's Guardians of the Edge costume, and whilst I like that theory, I don't know whether having the Guardians of the Edge in 2 stories in a row would be a good idea. Leave your theories about this shot of Ncuti down in the comment section below. And that finishes the whole trailer. Still no release dates, but if I had to make a prediction, I would say the 11th, 18th and 25th of November as the release dates for the 3 specials. But for now, they are just coming in the quote-unquote autumn. But that's all I've got for you today. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Please remember to like and subscribe. I've been Sideman Alpha, but from me for now, it's goodbye.